What's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to terrifying nocturnal tornado events. Tornadoes in general are very scary, but tornadoes at night, yeah, it's a whole different ball game. It's just 10 times scarier. I can only imagine someone experiencing a tornado during any period, but especially at night, it's got to be one of the scariest things possible, especially if it's like a stronger tornado or a tornado going nearby you or over you or whatever it is. It's just couldn't imagine that personally, but there's recorded events of this happening. I assume some of the worst tornadoes that have happened throughout the world, but obviously mainly in the US, because the US is the home for tornadoes in the sense of it gets bombarded by them. I assume some pretty big ones, maybe some that I've heard of, happen during the night, but we're going to check this out and learn about this, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, hopefully you're all doing well, and let's jump into this reaction.
There's one tornado type that is scarier than all the other tornado types, and that is the nocturnal tornado, aka tornadoes that occur during the night. The idea of a cone-shaped cloud heading towards your house in the middle of the night while you're sleeping, destroying everything in its path, that's terrifying. Do you want to know what a nocturnal tornado looks like? Just take a look at this sky cam footage. Within this footage, there is indeed a tornado, but you can't see it. All you can see is a wall of darkness being lit up with flashes of lightning. The only thing that's really going to save your life are the tornado sirens, which, by the way, they're great, they save lives, but they do make the whole scenario slightly more creepy. Just to give you a vibe of a night tornado, watch this footage captured by a rare breed in Bartleson, Oklahoma as an EF4 was approaching him. Just the anticipation of a tornado is scary enough. Here's another example that occurred in Georgia.
This is a nightmare material, man. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's pretty eerie. But maybe the fear of nocturnal tornadoes is justified. They are on average 2.5 times more deadly than their daytime counterparts. In fact, some of the deadliest tornado events of all time occur during the night. And that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. We're going to go over several infamous, historic night tornadoes. We'll be looking at the states of Wisconsin, Nebraska, Indiana, and much of the South in general, because it turns out these occur quite a bit in the South. But before we get to that, I have to tell you about today's video sponsor, Display. Display is an online metal poster store.
Display's pretty cool, to be fair. I want him to get his ad, but his post is pretty much with any sort of topic you want. With this sort of style, I'm letting him get his ad because I really like this guy's channel. I think he's class. But there you go.
No wall damage.
I would actually love one of these. I mean, I say love for me. But like a tornado sort of one. I feel like you could get a really cool display for tornadoes and stuff. But yeah, let's let this guy show his stuff, man, because he deserves it for sure.
These are super durable and easy to mount. Click the link in the description below or use code SWEGGLE to get the best possible deal. Again, click the link in the description below or use code SWEGGLE to get an amazing deal. Thank you so much to Display for sponsoring this video. Let us now go to our first nocturnal tornado event, the mysterious, strange 1955 Blackwell, Oklahoma F5, aka the supernatural tornado. On May 25th, a very deadly tornado outbreak occurred over Kansas and Oklahoma. Over 48 tornadoes would form, including 2 F5s. Both of these F5s were nocturnal. The first of these nocturnal tornadoes formed around 9 p.m. in rural Noble County, Oklahoma. This tornado slowly creeped its way to the north, getting stronger every mile. By the time it reached F5 strength, it was just outside the city of Blackwell, Oklahoma. In Blackwell, Oklahoma, few people knew that a strong F5 tornado was heading straight towards them. But within a few minutes, it reached the city. Thankfully, the tornado wouldn't strike the heart of the town, but it did skim the very far east part of Blackwell. In this small area alone, 400 homes were destroyed and 20 lives were taken. Jesus. On top of the 20 fatalities, 300 were injured. After leaving Blackwell, the tornado dissipated as it crossed into Kansas. But what's the mysterious supernatural thing about this tornado? Well, apparently, and this is real, apparently this tornado glowed blue at the top of the funnel. And I'm not talking about lightning. What? I'm not talking about power flash. I'm talking about like a constant blue orb at the top of the funnel. Here's a little simulation that I created.
What the hell?
This is what I'm talking about. And on top of that, apparently there were like orbed clouds rotating around the tornado, almost like they were orbiting the tornado. What? You might think this is fake, and maybe it is. I actually don't know, but several eyewitnesses claim to see this constant blue glow within the tornado. So not only do you have a creepy tornado heading towards you at night, but it's also glowing like a ghostly blue color. So you might be wondering what is going on, and that's a good question. I don't know if it was the environment, the moisture in the air, or the lack of moisture in the air. Maybe it was a super dry environment. Maybe it was a super humid environment. Something was going on and potentially causing some sort of reaction that led to air ionization. So I've talked about air ionization in the past. When atomic bombs go off, sometimes if they're super dirty, you can kind of see a blue glow around the mushroom cloud. Like look at this example right here. So maybe there was, I mean, obviously the tornado wasn't radioactive, but maybe there was some sort of ionization going on. There could have been like a St. Elmo's fire-ish phenomena related to this. Like there's all that dust and all that static electricity blowing around and the friction and I don't know. Another theory
is that the view?
Maybe it was just a ton.
I know this isn't really relevant. Is this a view from a plane? It is.
Could have been like a St. Elmo's fire.
Fucking hell, imagine seeing that whilst flying.
Ish phenomena related to this. Like there's all that dust and all that static electricity blowing around and the friction and I don't know. Another theory is maybe it was just a ton of lightning, like just constant flashes of lightning and people just misremember it. Maybe it was a power flash. Here's an example of a power flash in Texas in 2015. And you can see, yeah, it kind of looks like a weird blue tornado. The thing is people said it was constant. It wasn't flickering. It was just like a. And the other weird part is like the orbiting blue orbs around the top of the funnel. Perhaps all those little orbs of light were a form of ball lightning. Now you would think that if this were real, that it would have happened again, like it would have happened recently. Everyone and their mom is a storm chaser these days, so you would think that someone would have filmed a similar phenomenon. Yeah. But no one has seen anything like this. There's a lot of controversy around it. A lot of people don't even believe it was anything, but I like to believe it was something because I love rare natural phenomena. So what do you think about this strange blue orb? Let me know in the comments below. Since we know exactly where the tornado took place and the exact location of the damage, I of course had to get on Google Earth and search for remnants. Well, here's the portion of the town that was destroyed. And it does kind of seem like there might be less trees in the area. Maybe not though, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. This driveway right here could be an abandoned driveway. Perhaps there was a house here back in 1954 and it got destroyed and this is just a remnant of that house. But look at this right here. This is totally like a tornado shelter. Look at this. I think it's connected to the school. This is crazy. This is like a tornado fortress complex thing. Every school in Oklahoma should have something like this. This looks amazing. The other F5 from this outbreak formed from the same supercell 30 minutes after the Blackwell tornado. This tornado around 10:30 p.m. tore through the community of Udall, Kansas. Half of the population was either killed or severely injured. 80 individuals would lose their life from this tornado, making it the deadliest tornado in Kansas history. A very significant nocturnal tornado.
It took all the churches in town, took all the schoolhouses in town, took the community building down here.
The Udall, Kansas tornado was so significant, so bad, that the earlier Blackwell, Oklahoma tornado is often overshadowed by it. There's a pretty famous photo from the Udall, Kansas F5. It showcases the chassis of a truck wrapped around a tree.
How is that even possible?
Powerful tornadoes, you can see some pretty strange and crazy destruction. Wood cutting through concrete, forks wrapping around weird things, objects mangled beyond recognition. Examples like this really go to show how crazy and chaotic the inside of a tornado can be. We're going to move ahead to
that is mad. This
crazy and chaotic.
Just in a tree. Bloody hell, you just got to think about the strength that's involved, and it's still in great condition.
The inside of a tornado can be. We're going to move ahead to the 1980s, and of course, no video about night tornadoes would be complete without mentioning the infamous Night of the Twisters on June 3rd, 1980.
Have I seen
a
this?
rather terrifying night for the folks of Grand Island, Nebraska, who had to deal with 7 different tornadoes. I've talked about this event many times before, so I'll kind of keep it brief, but this is a classic example of a terrifying night full of nocturnal tornadoes. They literally just kept coming, all within Grand Island. Take a look at this satellite imagery. I didn't even know that they had satellite imagery this good in 1980, but they did, and this arrow right here is pointing directly at the supercell that spawned all the tornadoes over Grand Island. As you can see, it's not moving to the east at all. It's literally stationary right on top of the city, and that's why these tornadoes just kept occurring one after another over and over again. Truly a terrifying experience.
Mad.
If there was a tornado horror movie, it would be this event.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there is a movie based off of this event, the 1990s made-for-TV movie Night of the Twisters. A classic, in my opinion. I'm a big fan. This movie is actually based off of a book, and I got said book. Boom, baby. Night of the Twisters. This book right here is what the movie's based off of. Overall, this nocturnal tornado outbreak claimed 6 lives and injured over 400. There's even a huge, massive hill on the outskirts of Grand Island, Nebraska, that is just made up of the debris from this tornado. They like piled it into one huge hill. So it's kind of a weird tornado lore thing.
Wow.
Moving forward a few years to the state of Wisconsin. During the afternoon of June 7th, 1984, conditions were extremely favorable for strong and violent tornadoes. It was a typical tornado setup. Warm, moist air was coming up from the Gulf of Mexico as a low pressure system traveled across the Midwest. Iowa and Missouri specifically saw quite a bit of action. There were several F3s and even an F4 that crossed from Missouri to Iowa and claimed 3 lives. But the worst tornado from this setup would occur just after midnight in southwestern Wisconsin. Around 9 p.m. Central Time over Dubuque, Iowa, a supercell was beginning to take shape. About 2 hours later, the National Weather Service issued a tornado watch for much of Wisconsin. Here's the thing. It was 11 p.m. when this tornado watch was issued. Most people at 11 p.m. are already in bed, so they had no idea there was a tornado watch issued. And unfortunately, around 12:40 a.m., a tornado formed near Mineral Point, Wisconsin. This tornado was a quarter of a mile wide and quickly intensified to F5 strength, with wind speeds over 260 miles per hour. This very violent tornado was slowly moving to the northeast towards a small village known as Barneveld. The population of Barneveld at the time was around 600 people, so a very small community. This community was so small, in fact, that they didn't even have tornado sirens installed, so no one had any idea this monstrous tornado was slowly creeping towards them. Luckily, nature was actually going to help and give out a warning herself. As the tornado was approaching, a huge bolt of lightning struck a transformer within the town and let out a massive clap of thunder, like a very loud clap of thunder. Perhaps it was even a super rare super bolt, a positively charged lightning strike. Here's an example of one of those right here.
It's gonna be loud as fuck, isn't it? Watch out for your ears.
This super loud clap of
it's
thunder.
just a. Oh, it's thunder. I thought it was lightning. There we go. Back then, I wasn't actually hearing it. Man, I love hearing loud thunder. I still remember a few years ago when I lived in my old house. I had a woods behind me, so whenever there was like thunder and lightning, you'd have like just a great sort of, I guess, sort of scenery for it. It's not a massive woods. It's just it's not big at all, but it's just cool to have these massive trees and then lightning and thunder. And yeah, I just remember some of the loudest thunder I've ever heard, and lightning and stuff. And it's just, there's nothing more satisfying to me than sort of seeing trees and then just rain pissing it down, thunder, lightning, just non-stop. I just find it so satisfying. For me, it's just something I find really satisfying.
This super loud clap of thunder fortunately woke a lot of the townsfolk up. On top of that, it took out the town's power, which may be a good thing. So large tornadoes actually emit a loud sound. Many people who have witnessed a tornado claim that they sound like a mix between a train and a jet engine.
I'd never heard her scream before, and she screamed, "That's not a train, that's a tornado."
So when all of the power is out, all those random things in your house making noise, like your AC, your fridge, whatever, they all emit like a slight white noise. And without the hums of all those machines, people could probably hear this massive tornado slowly approaching them just outside their town. This experience would have been absolutely terrifying for sure, but being scared is good because it means you're going to get to safety.
Prepare.
But the people of Barneveld wouldn't have long, as the tornado was moving quite quickly. And at 12:40 a.m., it tore through the heart of the town at full F5 strength. destroying everything in its wake with wind speeds over 250 miles per hour.
The worst toll in human lives hit the southwest Wisconsin town of Barneveld, about 50 miles northeast of Dubuque.
The tornado that swept through this morning destroyed nearly everything, killed 9 people and injured 57 others.
100 homes were completely destroyed. Every commercial business within the town was destroyed because it went right through the business district.
Jesus.
And unfortunately, 9 would lose their life. This tornado would then leave Barneveld and destroy dozens of homes in the countryside before entering another small town known as Black Earth. Yeah, that's the name of the town, Black Earth, which is a crazy name for a town to be hit by a tornado in the middle of the night. Fortunately, no one in Black Earth lost their life. So similar to the Blackwell tornado, there's also some strange light phenomena lore with this tornado as well. Apparently, according to eyewitnesses, the lightning in the storm was insane, like more than a typical tornadic supercell. Many claimed it was like watching a strobe light. They could see the tornado slowly approaching and it was just like because the lightning was so fast. I'm not exactly sure what was going on. It was probably just some crazy lightning, but an interesting story nonetheless. In the years following the tornado, the town of Barneveld quickly rebuilt, and they even put in a memorial park. I did want to see if I could see any remnants on Google Earth, and I actually really couldn't find much at all. All you can really see is this faint scar in the forest over here to the east. See this line right here? That's definitely the path of the tornado, and you can still make out the scar in 2005. Like if you look closely, you see it? Wisconsin rarely gets F5 tornadoes. The last one before the Barneveld tornado was the 1958 Colfax tornado that claimed 21 lives. As of the recording of this video, they have had 6 F5 tornadoes, which is actually more than most states. So Wisconsin does have a little bit of a tornado alley. So if you're in Wisconsin, be weather aware. We are now going to move ahead to the night of November 5th and 6th in 2005, specifically on the border of Kentucky and Indiana. During the afternoon of November 5th, a cold front was coming in from the west, while warm moist air from the Gulf of Mexico was heading up to the north. At the same time, there was a low-level jet stream. All of these then mixed together to create a squall line of thunderstorms. Many of you might be familiar with the squall line. That's like your typical line of thunderstorms that you get throughout the summer. It's a very classic setup, but usually these squall lines don't produce tornadoes. They can, produce a little spin up, as they say, but nothing crazy, nothing like a supercell F3, F4, F5 tornado. But in the middle of the night, around 1 a.m., this squall line dissipated out and formed several isolated supercells. Those supercells then formed 9 tornadoes. 2 of these tornadoes were F3s, and one of them was the deadly Evansville, Indiana Nocturnal tornado. The initial tornado formed deep in the night around 1:40 a.m. near Smith Mills, Kentucky. Thankfully, the early phases of this tornado would occur over rural land. The tornado crossed the Ohio River into Indiana, where it mostly tore up some trees and damaged a few roofs. This area is a very windy part of the Ohio River, so the tornado actually crossed the river several times going in and out of Kentucky. Now, even though this tornado mostly occurred over rural areas during its initial phases, unfortunately, it was slowly heading towards a highly populated area. And if we look at the path of this tornado, it's slowly heading towards the East Brook Mobile Home Park. The worst place you can be during a tornado.
That's not good, man. They are not built to withstand anything close to that.
Is inside a mobile home park. Tornadoes pick up these trailers and throw them, and it's a terrible place to be. This tornado was heading towards a mobile home park, and since it was 1:40 in the morning, hardly anyone knew. There were people trying to get the word out. A local news station, News 25, was live and covering the progress of the tornado. The skycam footage I showed at the beginning of this video is from this live broadcast. This meteorologist, Wayne Hart, even called his family to wake them up during the event.
And Chad, I'd appreciate it if you'd make a phone call for me and get my family alerted. Vanderbilt County is now under a warning. Okay, please call my family at home. I want to get them up. But Vanderbilt County now under a tornado.
Bro, that is so creepy. That literally asking for his family to be called. That shows like, he's kept his composure whilst working, but he's also begging for basically help for his family, and obviously that makes sense. But damn.
Wayne Hart does his best to get the word out, but unfortunately, there was only so much he can do, as most people were sleeping.
This is a dangerous situation in the middle of a Saturday night in November when no one is expecting a tornado. We've got to get people awake. We've got to get them out of harm's way, or at least into a safe location in Newburgh and points northeast of Newburgh.
Wayne Hart did all that he could to warn the southern portions of Evansville, but unfortunately, around 2 a.m., the Eastbrook Mobile Home Park took a direct hit. Out of the 350 mobile homes, 100 were completely destroyed and 20 lives were lost. The tornado was not done yet. After tearing through the Eastbrook Mobile Home Park, the tornado continued into the suburb of Newburgh, where it destroyed several homes, including 4 more mobile homes, and in these mobile homes, 4 additional people lost their life. Hopping on Google Earth, you can indeed see the path pretty clearly. There it is right there, tearing through Camp Brosend. I am a bit confused. Like, this right here looks like tornado damage for sure. There are blue tarps out, and there's some destroyed homes. Like, look at this example right here. But the date on here says February 2005, which means this image was taken before the tornado occurred. There must be some sort of mistake here. I don't know. This is definitely tornado damage. I mean, look at these trees. Yeah. That's tornado damage. In the end, 500 buildings were destroyed and 24 lives were lost during this terrifying nocturnal tornado. 24 lives is a large number for any tornado, but this was just an F3. This wasn't even an F4 or an F5. Still a violent tornado. Anything really above an F2 is a violent tornado. Every tornado is serious. I'm not trying to say go out and run into an F0 tornado. Don't do that. But for an F3 tornado, this is still a pretty high death toll. There's only one image of this tornado, by the way. It was captured by a hospital in Newburgh. I mean, it's a pretty eerie image, too. Nocturnal tornadoes are very common in the South. Why is that? So the South, specifically Dixie Alley, has 2 tornado seasons, one in March/April and one in November and December. The spring season is usually more severe. Now,
November and December? What a mad time to have tornadoes.
Now, in case you didn't know, it gets dark early during the, towards the winter solstice, during the winter time. In fact, it can be dark by like 5 p.m. in December. And for this reason, any tornado that occurs after 5 p.m. is a nocturnal tornado because it's dark out. This is just another reason why Dixie Alley is so dangerous when it comes to tornadoes. There's no basements, there's lots of hills, and lots of night tornadoes. Here are a few notable nocturnal tornado events down south. 32 lost their lives during an F5 tornado that hit the surrounding suburbs of Birmingham, Alabama on April 8th, 1998. Here on YouTube, ABC 3540 has done several memorial documentaries about the event. I highly recommend you check those out. 1998 was a bad year for nocturnal tornadoes because earlier that year, the state of Florida had their own Night of the Twisters during the Central Florida tornado outbreak on the early morning of February 23rd. 7 tornadoes formed between 11 p.m. and 2:30 a.m. within Central Florida close to Orlando, leading to 42 fatalities, including the Kissimmee F3 that killed 25 individuals alone. This tornado is the deadliest in Florida history. All the fatalities from this tornado occurred at 3 different RV parks. The Ponderosa Pines RV Park,
what are the chances of that? You've got to be so unlucky to be involved in something like that. It's so insane to me how, luck really does play a role in all these things.
Great Outdoors RV Park, and the Morningside Acre.
Look at the damage as well. This might be some of the worst sort of damage in one area that I've seen from a tornado.
Ponderosa Pines RV Park.
What the fuck? Bloody hell.
Great Outdoors RV Park, and the Morningside Acres Mobile Home Park. It seems to me that nocturnal tornadoes have become more common in recent years. For example, there was the Barnsdale tornado earlier this year, the Rolling Fork, Mississippi EF4, and of course, the 2020 Nashville tornado outbreak, specifically the EF4 that struck Cookeville, Tennessee. Now, when it comes to Cookeville, Tennessee, I actually want to do a long format tornado video documentary on this event, so I'll be saving that for a future video. Be sure to subscribe. And there is one other tornado that I have not mentioned, and that is the
Bloody hell, man. I mean, look at that. This is mad.
Kansas EF5, the very first EF5. This occurred in 2007. I also want to do a video focused solely on this tornado, so stay tuned for that. To conclude, the threat of night tornadoes isn't as bad as it once was, and that's because we live in an era of cell phones. And those little cell phone wireless alerts, those will definitely wake us up before a tornado hits.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to Romania for the first time, and I'd never ever experienced this before. On my phone, I got a warning for, I think there was fires in the area nearby or something. The first time I'd ever got a warning on my phone, I was a bit scared because it's such a weird sound, like a siren sound. But based off that, I can assume within the US, people get those sort of things all the time. And thank God, man, that is a great sort of thing that people can have, for sure. It's actually horrifying to just see a huge tornado coming towards you, but only being able to see it in between flashes of lightning. I couldn't imagine, man. But there we go. Let me know your thoughts on this nocturnal tornadoes. I mean, based off the name, it makes sense as to how scary and brutal they are. But when you really think about it, especially if you live in a place without the infrastructure to help you get like safe from these situations like sirens and stuff, oh man, I couldn't imagine. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this, and if you've experienced a nocturnal tornado, I guess let me know your thoughts. Let me know your experiences with that and all that kind of thing. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy this reaction, and until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.